I use PCG all the time. I know, shocking. But that is why I decided to create this little assistant for some PCG things that I do quite often and need quite often. Now, this is inside of my game, and I'll be showing you guys how to recreate this. But what does this do? Well, it allows me to just select all the actors with PCG in one click. It also allows me to refresh them all in one click. Now, nothing has been changed here. You might be wondering, why do I need a refresh button that just refreshes all of them? That is because if you're working with multiple levels and you make a change inside of one level and that uses the same graph somewhere else, it will not refresh that graph unless it is runtime. So that way you can just open up a different level, hit that one button, it'll refresh all your graphs, and then you open them in the next one, the next one, the next one, right? And it'll just refresh all of them. So it's very convenient in that regard. I also have a button for cleaning up, so removing and ungenerating, as well as generating. So this is selection only, as you can see, but this is the really handy one. It allows me to just randomize the seed on the selections. So now I could say, okay, I want to have slightly of a different setup on this rock, let's say, and this rock. I can go ahead and just click the button a few times. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I like that one. Maybe let's just randomize this one only. And right, I can go through and randomize it until I get one that I like. And then I'll be like, okay, cool. That has gone ahead, and keep that one, and I can move along. And the last one here is quite convenient if you're modifying PCGs down the line quite often. If I go ahead and select, let's say, this, and this, they all have different graphs. And if I just press this button here, it's just going to go ahead and open up the PCG graphs. Here are all the 3 graphs that I use, just like that. I may be thinking, what's the point of this one? You can already press Control E, but here's the thing. Control E on just a PCG graph in the world will open the graph. But this is an actor with a spline. So pressing Control E on this one opens up the blueprint, not the PCG graph inside of it. So what this does is just open the graph regardless. So that way you don't have to go in and navigate to the component to open up whatever graph you need. So using a combination of these, if you want to, you can just click to select all your PCG actors and then just open up all the graphs in one go. Or just open the selected ones, or whatever it is. It's quite simple to set this up, and I want to show you guys how to do just that today. Let's get into it. So here I am in a new project. All I've done is just add a few of the demo tree examples, and I've added some other graphs into the world, all PCG for this demonstration, and I've brought in some icons that we're going to be using for this tutorial. Now, you don't need to have any icons. You can use text. I'm just doing it to make it look a little bit nicer, and so it's not going to be just really long bits of text, but it's not a requirement. Let's go ahead and get started. We're just going to right-click, go to Blueprint, and we want ourselves an Editor Utility Widget. So this one right at the bottom, go ahead and select it. And now you have options of a stack box and a grid panel. Stack box is a layout panel for automatically laying children widget out vertically or horizontally, and a grid panel is a table-like panel that retains the width of every column throughout the table. I like using stack box, that way I can put a grid inside of it if I so wish. So I will use a stack box. Let's go ahead and select it, and I just rename it to EUW for Editor Utility Widget underscore PCG Assistant. And now I'm just going to right-click and do a Run Editor Utility Widget. And this is just going to open up this window that just has the name here and nothing else special about it. What I personally like to do is I like to dock it to the top right here, right next to the outliner. So that way I can tap to it, and this becomes the nice convenient place for it. You can, of course, move it wherever you like. If you have a really long setup, maybe you want to put it down here. Maybe you want to dock it on the side. I just like this. It gives me all the room I need. And by having it docked here, as we're making changes to this, it'll go ahead and update the dock. So let's go ahead and double click on it to open it up. And this will be just like a regular widget. Same kind of setup. The only difference is you can see here, we have a stack box at the top here. So let's go ahead and get started populating this. Well, I did say we can put in a grid in here, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go up here to the palette and search for grid. And I'm just going to get a grid panel, plug it in here, but there's nothing inside of it. So let's start putting stuff in. And what are we going to put in? We're going to put in buttons. That's right. Now, you can see here we have Editor Utility Button. Basically, all of the stuff has been changed for editor utility types. So if you're used to regular UMG and making widgets, you will just see a button. Here you'll just have an editor utility button. So if you know the names of things, you can still find them. They'll just have an editor utility prefix. So I'll go ahead and grab the editor utility button and just drag it right underneath this grid panel. And here you'll see, hey, there's our button. And you get these arrows. So now what I can do is just use these arrows to position my thing, but right now I only have one. If I go ahead and duplicate this and then press right now, you can see the second button went to the right. And now I can go ahead and move it a little more. I cannot move it where we're going to have one now a few spaces down, but if I go ahead and duplicate it again, I can move this third one down again. Again, cannot move it anymore, but I can now move it one over. Again, you can put it inside of a grid and customize it. You just can't have like a massive space. There has to be something roughly touching it. And by the way, the reason for that is if I come here, you can see if I press up and down, right? It pushes this one down. The reason for that really is that there's just a blank grid and it's collapsed. So technically speaking, if I click up, you can see what happens. Don't worry about it. This is not that important right now. I'm just going to delete these two. We're just going to start with the one and then go from there. The main thing is we have a button, but we don't know what this button is. So to know what this button is, I want to add an image to it. So I will search image and I'll drag this image right underneath this Editor Utility button. Okay, so we have an image now. It is pure white by default. We can go here in the brush section and under image, we can specify the image. So under image here, I'm going to search for select. And here you'll see select. You'll also see materials. The materials are there because you can also plug in materials as an image. In my case, I want the texture select. And what you'll see is it becomes very large. I don't want it to be so large. So I'm going to go into the image size and I'm going to change it from the default 256 by 256 of the texture to 64 by 64. When making your own though, I would recommend making it the size you need. You don't need a 256 texture in here, but at the same time, this is just editor helper tools. You're not packaging this in the end build anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now looking at this, you might notice, hey, we have a lot of padding here on the sides compared to the top. Well, that's because by default on this image padding, we have padding left and right at 4. If I put left and right at 0, we get a little bit of a better result. It's still not quite correct. If we want to have it be more uniform, we might need to do like 4 at the top and bottom, and that's going to do a little bit better. Why isn't it exactly in the center, even though our horizontal and vertical alignments say to put it in the center? I don't know, but I'm going to leave it as just 0202 here for padding, and honestly good enough. And by the way, I really do mean I don't know, because I've used UMG and widgets for a very long time, and to this day, they don't make sense to me. Like, they make sense, but like, why is the alignment not in the center, even though the padding says 0? I don't know. There's probably someone here in the comments that can tell you why. But from as an artist point of view, when I say to put it in the center and the thing I'm trying to put in as a center, it doesn't make sense. Hopefully one of you guys can explain in the comments. Regardless though, we now have an image and we have a button. Button doesn't do anything yet, but we have a button. So what we can do now is take this button, duplicate it, press right, it'll put a copy here. And now we can go into this one and I can swap the image out. When it does that, it will reset the image size. So I'll go ahead and put it back to 64 by 64. Then I'm going to go and grab the first one again, duplicate, press down to move it down. And again, continue doing this, swapping out the image, changing it to 64 by 64, and continue, right, duplicating it and setting up all 6 buttons. So there we go. We have all 6 buttons, but personally, I don't like the fact that they're so close together. So what you can do is select all of the editor utility buttons here. Just select the top ones, not the image. And then in the top right, we can give it a little bit of padding. If I say 5 padding, it'll apply 5 padding to all 4 directions. So if I press enter here, we now have a little bit of a gap between the buttons. Yeah, not really required, but I think it's a little bit nicer. So let's go with that. By the way, if I go ahead and compile this, you can already see it in the top right here. There's all our buttons. You can even click on them. They don't do anything yet, but visually you can see that it is working. So now let's go ahead and make them actually be able to be used. What we need to do is click on the button, and you notice the button when you have the outline around the entire thing and you see the arrows. So click on that, and we need to give them names and then turn on is variable. The way I like to configure them myself is I like to call it what it is. So it's a button underscore, and then what it is for. So if you have multiple things, like this is the PCG section, maybe you have another section, it'll be the section name. So in my case, I'll just call it button underscore PCG underscore what it is. So in my case, this is going to select all the PCG. So I'm just calling it sell all PCG, just like that. And I'll just check on is variable. Now, immediately when you do this, you'll see here on the left side, it has changed the name of the button to that. It has also removed the brackets here. So you can see this one has brackets. if I go ahead and select it and just check is variable, you could see the brackets go away or they come back, just like that. So you can immediately tell when something is an exposed variable versus not. But now all we need to do is just go ahead and rename the other ones. I'll just go ahead and copy this button underscore PCG underscore, come here and just rename them accordingly. So this is going to be refresh is variable. This one is going to be cleanup is variable. This next one is generate is variable. This one's randomize seed is variable. And the last one is just going to be open is variable. So just like that. So we now have all of the buttons set as variables and we've given them identifiable names. That's basically all you need in this section. Now we can actually go to the graph and add the logic for them, which is here in the top right. We have the designer where we're designing it. And now if we go to the graph, here's the graph. And here are all the variables, aka the buttons that we have exposed. And the reason we've set them to be variables is because now we can do things like onClicked. Well, we're not going to be using any of these, so I'll go ahead and remove those. Those aren't needed. All we're going to do is just go through all of these, select them one at a time, and click the plus on onClicked. If you're wondering what clicked is compared to pressed is when you're pressing down. Clicked is when you click and let go. On release is specifically on being released. This is actually like a click. If you just want to left click, quick left click, this is clicked. So this is typically what I want. But if you want to do something when it's being pressed down, you could do on pressed. And that's why there's also on released, on hovered, unhovered. You can customize this a little more if you'd like to, but we're only going to focus on clicked. So we're just going to select one of these, click on clicked, select the next button, go to onClicked, and basically do this for all of them until we have all of these with onClick events, just like so. Now, to make it also a little bit better for me, I'm going to check the order of these so I can have them be the same order as this. So we're going to do the select all, then the refresh, cleanup, generate, right? We're just going to do them in order. So there we go. I just ordered them again. Select, refresh, cleanup, generate, randomize seed, and open. Order of this in the actual event graph does not matter at all. I'm just doing it for the tutorial so it'll be easier to follow. Let's go ahead and get started with the select all. Well, the main thing that actually we need for all this is the editor actor subsystem. If I search for editor actor subsystem, you can get editor actor subsystem here. If I go and select it, we get access to this node. Basically, this has the information about things in the editor, all the actors in it. That's basically what you need to know here. And the main thing here that we can use is a node called get all level actors. Now there's also get all level actors components. Let's go ahead and select the actors one. And then here we can do get all level actors components. So you can see the difference. This one returns the components. This one returns the actor object references. Now you might think that since we're trying to select all the PCG, we want to select the components. No. We want to select the actors that have them. So in our case, we want to get all the level actors. So we'll only just be using get all level actors. But this is going to get all of them. We only want to get some of them. So let's do a for each loop. For each thing in the world, let's check if it has a PCG component. So from this array element, we can drag out and just say get component by class. And as you might imagine, the component that we're going to be looking for is the PCG component. Hey, so grab that component and I want to know, is this valid? So if we do an is valid, we'll use the question mark one version here. So we can check from the loop body if the component is valid. Because if it is valid, that means we have an actor here that has a PCG component. And that means I need to make a note of this actor. So to make a note of them, I'm going to need to make a note of them in an array. So the easiest way to do that, I'm just going to right click on this return value, promote it to a variable. I'll just rename this array to selected actors. And I'm going to delete this set node. We don't actually need it. What I do need to do though, is at the very beginning, before all of this, I'm going to grab the selected actors node and I'm going to clear it. So that way, when we go ahead and select the new things, we start from a blank slate. So we'll go ahead and clear it first. And then when we have found a compatible thing, we'll again grab the selected actors and just do an add here. And we'll add to the array, this array element. So clear out all of the actors in this array, find all of them in the world. If they have a PCG component and it is valid, go ahead and add them to this array. At which point, when it's done, we can grab the editor actor subsystem one more time. And as you might imagine, since we have a get all level actors, we can also set selected level actors. And this takes an array. So on complete, go ahead and set the selected level actors to be our selected actors. just like so. Let's go ahead and just move this to its own thing, and I'll go ahead and comment it. This is our select PCG actor section. So now if you compile, we can come back here, and if we now click on this checkbox, you'll see that, hey, all of these have gone selected. If I go ahead and click away, you can see the ground selected. I click the checkbox, deselects the ground, and selects all of these inside of the world. So cool. The select all is already working. And honestly, you've now done basically everything you need to really quickly do every other one here. Because the majority of it is getting some kind of actors, checking that it is the right stuff, and doing something to them. So let me show you on the refresh one. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do a get all level actors. Going to do a for each loop. We're going to check that it has the component by class and it's valid. So I'm going to copy all of that and paste it down here. That's what I mean by you already done pretty much the hard stuff. So now when we do the refresh, if it has a valid PCG component, we can just drag out and do a generate. So by doing a generate, we can tell it to force generate, and this will refresh the graph and regenerate it. So just like that, if it has a valid component, go ahead and regenerate it. And that is literally it. So now we just comment this one to be refresh all. Again, if you compile it, you can click this button. It won't actually select them. It is refreshing them. But again, this is not a great example in this scenario, but just know that under the hood, it is refreshing them. When we do the cleanup and generate ones on the selected ones, it'll be easier to tell. You can see how easy it is to all of a sudden now make modification to your graph just from this. So let's do the cleanup. Cleanup and generate are going to be very easy and very visual. So I'm going to just grab this. I'm going to copy pretty much all of this. But here's the thing. We're actually going to be doing slightly different one here, because in this case, we want to do it on the selected stuff. So instead of getting all level actors, I want to get the selected level actors. And then it's the exact same thing. I'm going to hold control to repin them to the selected ones. Look at this all the way through. So now on the selected level actors, check that it has the PCG component. If it does, we're doing the cleanup button. So from here, we can just do a cleanup. I'm also going to check on remove components. So do a full cleanup. And now we can do this, grab all of this, copy it down here. And again, selected level actors. And this is going to do the generate. Again, we'll do a force generate because that way we make sure that it is generated. And now we just go ahead and comment this to cleanup and generate. Compile. Now we can come here and now we can go ahead and select, let's say, this one and this one. We can do a little cleanup and we can do a generate. And you can see button 1, button 2. By the way, if you did cleanup and did refresh all, it will also generate all of them. Now you can see this one is working. The difference mainly is this is the selection ones and this is global. Now, fun fact here, if I come here and I do a cleanup and generate, right, it still works. And this one, cleanup and generate, still works. I just want to show that specifically for these two because this one using PCG mode's draw spline setup, and this is using the PCG mode's paint setup. So you can still clean up and generate them and you will be just fine. So if I wanted to, I can do a select all, clean them all up, and then just do a refresh and it will just generate them all back. Or at any point I can do cleanup, do something else, and now I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get the PCG back. Let's refresh them all and it'll regenerate them all. Really nice and convenient. Now let's go ahead and randomize the seeds and get this opened. So let's grab the randomize seed button here. And again, we're only doing this on the selected one. So let's do the same thing. Copy all of this, copy all that, copy it down here, getting the selected, checking that it has the right component. If it does, then we need to randomize the seed. So we're going to do a set seed here, just like that, on valid, set its seed. And on seed, we'll just do a random integer in a range. And I'll just give it a minus quite a few nines to positive quite a few nines. So there we go. Set the seed. But if you just set the seed, it will not actually regenerate it. So now we still need to call the generate one more time, force generation. So that way we actually see it to be visible. If you want to, you could change the seed and not regenerate it. But then at that point, the next time you were to generate it, it'll be a different result. You'll probably forget. This is a nice safety measure. So I'll comment this to be randomize seed. Again, compile. And now if I come to, let's say, this guy, and I click this button, you'll see we now have a randomized setup just for it. And if I want to, I can also randomize this next one, and let's say this one, right? And just select these guys. And again, randomize, you can see it is randomizing the seed of it. So some things are set in stone, like for this one, the distance between them is kind of set in stone, but the rotation and the scale of them is being randomized because that I have some random aspects on it. So cool, that is now working. And now let me show you how to do the opening. The opening one is slightly different than the others. So let's grab our on-clicked open here. Some things stay the same. We still want to go on the selected. We want to loop on them. We want to make sure that it has the component. So all of this, copy down one more time. You see how simple this is, by the way? Is it getting your mind thinking about just how quick and easy it is to make just editor buttons that do things globally or on selected things? Hopefully this is really helping you get some ideas for stuff. So now, assuming it's valid, let's go ahead and grab the graph from the component. To do that, we just need to get the graph instance, or there's a get graph node here. So we can just use get graph. The other way is to doing a get graph instance, and from the graph instance, you can do a get graph, which is the actual graph here. Either one. This one's a single node, so let's use the single node. Now, unlike before, where we're using the editor actor subsystem, we want to use a different subsystem this time. This time we want the asset editor subsystem. So by searching for asset editor sub, we can now get the asset editor subsystem, and you can see there's a few other ones here, but we need the top one here, asset editor subsystem. Why do we need it? Well, if we drag out, we can search for open, and you can see open editor for assets, just like that. Now this one takes an array, but in our case, we're actually going ahead and checking things one at a time, so we only need one at a time, which is fine. We'll just go ahead and just plug this in and then drag out of assets here and search for make array. And in here, we'll just plug in this graph, just like so. Open method is edit. That is perfect for us. So now if I go and compile this, let's go actually comment it, open graphs. I can now come here and let's select on this guy here, and I click open graphs, and it's gone ahead and opened the PCG graph. Now I've used one of the pre-made ones, so that's what it's gone ahead and opened. So here's the spacing tool. And if I go ahead and select multiple of these, so let's say I'll select you, and you, I can even select the ground or any other actor, it doesn't matter. It's going to check that it's correct. Here I only have the Editor Utility Widget open. I click this button, I wait a moment, and there's the for simple, the place tool, and the spacing tool. These are the tools that I've used, and the main thing is it's opened the graphs. The reason I'm specifying that is because if I come here and let's say went to this guy, this, if you look in the outliner, is a blueprint with a graph inside. So in here, you can see there's all the components and there's the PCG component. And if I press Control E on it, right, it opens up the blueprint, not the graph. So this button makes it so you get the graph. So now we can quickly open the graph, refresh it, select things, clean them up, generate them, do whatever you want, modify them, randomize them, and it's nice and handy all in here, and you can go ahead and migrate this to your other projects. Now, I am done this in 5.8 because I always use the latest actual Unreal version for the tutorials, but nothing here is exclusive to 5.8. You should be able to do this in much, much earlier versions. I mean, basically, you should be able to do this pretty much since the beginning of PCG. It just took me a while to actually do it for myself because I'm lazy, let's be honest. But now you can expand on this. If you'd like to, you can add more buttons, you can add more systems, you can organize this, you can make it prettier, but things are now working just like that. If you'd like to get this tool for yourself and you don't want to go through the process of recreating it, it will, as always, be available on my Patreon, where you can join these wonderful people here in supporting what I do. It really means a lot. And if you'd like to join the community, the link to the Discord and everything else is in the description below, as always. And if you like this Editor Utility Widget tutorial, I've actually made a different one in the past about splines that you can check out right over here to hopefully help you out some more.